What's up, world? It's Taj, and I'm back with a brand new episode of OCN Watchlist, where I, Taj, share my thoughts with you on my favorite things I watched this week. Before we get started, as always, please give this video a like and subscribe to this great channel, OCN Video, for more amazing video content from my incredible team. As you well know by now, I am doing a 6-part, 6-week Game of Thrones special edition of the Watchlist, where I'll break down each episode of the final season. So let's go ahead and hop right into last night's episode, episode 3, The Long Night. So where do I begin? How about... That was the most intense episode I've ever seen. There's a ton to unpack each here and a lot of emotions to try to unpack, so let's try to hop into it. So this is literally what we've been waiting for about 10 years and 8 seasons. It's all been building up for this one moment, the fight between the living and the dead. And the battle itself did not disappoint. You can use all the words you want. A few that come to mind are epic, unbelievable, awe-inspiring, haunting, tragic, and terrifying. So the first big moment of the episode was the arrival and return of Melisandre to Winterfell, where she ignites the Dothraki swords with fire. It's an epic moment for sure, and the first time we as a viewer have a small sense of hope that this actually might work out. With swords ablaze, the Dothraki charge towards the army of the dead, and ultimately their quick demise. The tone quickly changes, and we're left thinking, oh shit, now there's 100,000 Dothraki that just joined the army of the dead. One thing is clear throughout this entire episode, and that was that the camera work and cinematography was on a completely different level than anything we've seen before. Absolutely spectacular. Let's just go ahead and say that. So now the battle has begun, and it's just sheer fear and terror flowing through my body. Everyone is about to die, awful deaths, and this is literally within the first 10-15 minutes of the episode. Next thing you know, both Jon and Dany, by the way, I'm still calling him Jon for now, are on their dragons trying to nuke the dead with fire and battle the Night King in the sky. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the sheer magnitude of this action sequence, and visual effects were nothing short of stunning and truly exceptional. Again, tone throughout was just visually, it was a mindfuck. Moving on, survival is all that literally matters at this point, and this is the first time we see some of the main characters in one episode during one sequence. The director did a great job in telling the story of this battle from multiple viewpoints and giving the viewers the time that we needed to really enjoy these characters that we were truly vested in. One of the more epic moments was the lighting of the trenches. Given the madness of the fighting and the freezing temperatures caused by the Night King, it wasn't lighting up. Welcome back Melisandre again, who, thanks to the Lord of Light, was able to light it in a very epic fashion. Visually, this was definitely one of the cooler moments of the episode, and kind of reminds me of when Cersei blew up the Sept Baelor. You'll see some of the similarities. Another huge moment was where the dead made it through the fiery trench and finally broke into Winterfell. At this point, all hope is pretty much lost, and again, visually seeing a sea of zombies attack was simply horrifying. This leads to our first big death of the episode, and that goes to Lady Mormont, who killed a giant and died in the process. It was a beautiful death and very poetic that the small in stature yet huge in personality little Lady Mormont stood her ground until the very end. Heartbreaking and yet very satisfying for her character. Next up in this massive sequence is just pure madness is the dragon aerial scene. The Night King is in hot pursuit of Dany and her dragon, and this provided some oh shit moments for the viewers. A brief moment I thought maybe Dany died midair and would turn into the Night Queen, but that didn't happen. But alas, it was an epic sequence nonetheless. Now that I'm thinking about it, this episode was kind of all over the place, and there was a lot of just things happening, and it was kind of hard to gather. Next up was one of my favorite moments in the episode, and that's when Arya was in Winterfell running from the Whites. The tone shifted, and it was less massive battle and more intimate survival. The tension was unbearable, and I really started to feel for her life. It was truly brilliant how the style and tone and pacing changed throughout the episode. Her running through Winterfell leads to her running into Beric and the Hound. Beric dies while fighting, and the three of them end up in a room with who else? Melisandre again, who reminds Arya that they met before. There's also a little foreshadowing when Melisandre repeats to Arya that back in the day, she reminded her that she would close many eyes from brown to green and blue. More on the blue eyes later, but she hasn't shut any green eyes yet either. That's a fact. Could she be referring to Cersei in an episode still to come? Guess we'll find out soon enough. Moving on, the next what the moment came after another dragon fight, which led to the Night King falling off his dragon and then Dany giving us a Dracarys moment, only for the Night King to not be affected by fire? What the actual hell? So he was a Targaryen the whole time? A question that is never answered, but it definitely leaves us with a head-scratching moment for sure. This is then immediately followed by Jon and the Night King standoff, and for a brief moment we think, aw snap! Jon's about to fight the Night King, but then he does it. You know why? Because he has another one of those come at me bro moment and raises even more people from the dead. It's a wild moment for sure, albeit I was really hoping for a fight between the Night King and Jon. Aegon. Whatever. Don't even care anymore. This does naturally lead to another great moment where down in the crypts, all the dead ancient Starks begin to break free from their tombs and begin feasting on the innocent women and children that were hiding in the crypts. I thought this was brilliant. I like seeing innocent people die. Anyways, the final moments of the episode are heartbreaking and somewhat fulfilling, albeit very confusing. First, Jorah Mormont dies defending Dany, and cool. Then we have Theon die to protect Bran, and Bran tells him thank you and that you're a good person. Nice ending for Theon. Now, for me, this is where things get a little weird. Instead of the Night King killing Bran right away, they instead engage in a staring contest for what seems like way too long before, out of nowhere, Arya shows up and tries to attack the Night King from behind. She is stopped at first, but then he turns around to grab her, and then she's about to stab him, but then doesn't stab him, and then drops her dagger to her other hand, and then kills the Night King, and he explodes along with the entire army. So many questions. The episode ends with, oh, that's right, Melisandre again, walking out into the cold and falling to her death along with most of the main characters surviving. So how would I rate it? I really don't know. But it definitely goes down as one of the most visually insane and emotionally charging episodes ever. Hands down brilliantly executed and one of the greatest spectacles I have ever witnessed. Having said that, the Night King is dead. And that was certainly a huge shock. Definitely was not expecting that. Like, he's dead, and the entire army is dead. Wasn't expecting him to go out quite like that, but the big question is, now what? The great enemy is defeated, but we have 3 more long episodes before this show is over forever. How will it end? What happens next? Who will sit on the Iron Throne? Does it even matter? Does anyone die? Who cares? Does the world find out who Jon really is? Does Daenerys go mad? Like, what? Whatever. So that about covers most of the highlights from episode 3 of season 8. No real low points on this one, other than the fact that I have a lot of questions. So that about does it for this week of OCN Watchlist Thrones Edition. Did you catch last night's epic battle episode? If so, let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, make sure to tune into our new OCN Entertainment podcast, where we will do an even deeper dive into last night's Thrones episode. And don't forget, as always, it's immensely important that you follow me on both Instagram and Twitter at OCN_Watchlist for more daily content. See you next week on the OCN Watchlist.